In this video, we're going to build a web page. We're going to use Bootstrap. We're going to be building it in LiveCanvas, which is a plugin for WordPress. This is a part of a video series. This whole video series has been leading up to this moment. I've been planning to make documentation for this workflow for a while, and I've been asked a couple times, could I just show how I build a page? Every other video has just been me adding context or scope creep maybe, just to set us up so that we're all on the same page as I set out to build this page. If you haven't seen the other videos, you should maybe skim through them, speed listen, what have you. But we're just going to dive in. Now, to build a web page, you would think that I might just start by building the web page. But I want to encourage you to just really think about who is this web page for? Why will it exist? What is its goal? Now, you also will be taking into account, what is your role in all this? Is it your job to just sort of blue sky this thing? Is this a, that scary moment where you have a blank page? What will you do with it? Or perhaps there are stakeholders. There are people who want a very specific thing. Today, we're going to build a campaign page as though it was for like an ad campaign or like social media, something. Some kind of funnel will be leading people to this web page. That's the kind of thing we're going to build. Now, if you're making all the decisions, I suggest just go visit 1,000 websites. Go look at some landing pages, fall into some funnels, see where that takes you. There is a level of design and user experience thinking that can go into all of this that would really help inform those decisions. But today we're going to just sort of gloss over that. But I did want to plug it and say that this kind of thinking is really important. And I want you to, if it's your job to think about websites and web pages and what will be on it and how it's said, I encourage you to do that in the way that you are the most effective and clear-headed thinker. Most of us do not do our best thinking at a computer writing code. If I'm trying to do design from the perspective of writing code, you will find my design is way less creative than if I started in Photoshop. And that is even like notably less creative than if I start on paper. Today, just for the sake of this demo and some convenience, the paper that I've started with is on the iPad, and that's so I can screen share and show you. That did not expose well on the camera, according to my little screen there. So we're just going to be looking at that on the computer. But just, I started with a wireframe, and I wanted to show you how low fidelity it can be to actually be like an effective thinking tool. I call it thinking with my hands. Pencil, paper, here we go. I always have like notebooks right next to my desk. This one says jet lag on the back. I doodled that when I had jet lag. We think clearly in other ways that are apart from the computer. I just want to put that out there. And so think about your audience, think about the goal of the page. And if you're like sort of that design creative mode, do not think about how you're going to build it. You will be more creative if you're not creating those extra constraints that everything will be in this perfect grid or what have you. This is not the time for pixel perfection. This is the time for raw ideas and getting your goal to start. Okay, let's jump in. We're gonna start building some pages. I need to do the picture-in-picture thing. Okay, here I am in a Apple piece of software called Freeform. It's like an infinite canvas kind of drawing flowcharty tool. This tool has some interesting thing. Like I could have done this with boxes, but again, I do not think that is my best way of thinking. I would have done this on paper if I just wanted this to be a quick and easy thing. So this is my wireframe. This is not telling you anything about the colors or fonts of this website. Yeah, there's some green here, but this is just more like just a clue that I want to use colored boxes here. So we're gonna imagine at the point where I drew this, I didn't even know what the brand colors would be. So we're gonna have logo, navigation, phone, map. Welcome to Family Dental. And then this is a little thing in French. It says bienvenue. I'm gonna have some like French text there. Then I want 3 calls to action. Now, because this is just a demo site, like I'm not actually putting any thought here into like make an appointment, why it's important. I would, for this dentist site, like it is a fictitious thing, but as I look through some stock photos, I decided I don't want to show pointy things in people's mouths. Some people have genuine fear or at least discomfort about going to the dentist. So I think this call to action will be like, I saw a dentist in my old hometown. It was something like tear-free dentist. And I think it was like geared towards children, and they do things to help you just like have a really good experience without the fear. So like, these are the things that I'm thinking about as I'm doing my calls to action. What are the 3 most important things? Getting people into the place for an appointment is going to be number 1, but there's going to be some secondary things that sort of like build up your confidence to do that. Here, I'm going to have like about the dentist or whatever. We're going to have a promotional video. Google and Apple apps, you know, the how to download and install that. This site wouldn't probably actually have an app, but I want to even just show how I think about getting those assets. And then finally, we're going to have a form. When the internet started in the 90s, the fundamental thing that made it such an amazing network is that we could do links between documents. We could link pages together. It was like the most extraordinary library ever amassed. So linking documents was the start of the internet. But today, the real thing that holds the internet together seems to be forms. When you're shopping, when you're like filling out comments, you're commenting on something, you're submitting something, like posting to social media, whatever. It's just forms all over the place. So we're gonna have a form on this page, and without further ado, let's dive in. Here I am in WordPress. We will start from here. I've got this one here called Spring Promotion. I'm gonna right click on that to open in a new tab, and that is gonna be the place where I do my page building. But I'm also gonna do, I don't know, we'll do summer promotion here. I'm going to have another one happening, and I want to start this one from a template within LiveCanvas. So I created the page. I said I want it to be in LiveCanvas. I hit publish. If this wasn't on my local WP, I probably would have like save as a draft or build it in my local WP, and then I'll be ready to copy paste. But I wouldn't publish something without it actually being ready to go. So we don't have readability analysis yet. I could set the URL here. Author, I want to set the featured image while I'm in here. Are there other attributes? I personally don't like my pages getting out of order here. So like I always put home. I do a quick edit there. I like home to be number 1, and then everything else to be much further down. Spring promotion I put is 2222. I'm happy with this one to be 2223. I do tend to separate them by at least 10, so it's easy to shimmy pages in between each other. My friend likes to get the drag and drop thing where you can like reorder them. I like to have the least plugins possible. Okay, I reordered that. I have to hit refresh to see it. Let's edit summer with LiveCanvas, and we're just going to dive in. Now, I got this pop-up. Do you want to start from a ready-made template or build from scratch? I think ultimately the goal for your website would be always probably, like I'll say, start from scratch, and you're going to create your own templates. But today I'm going to click on create template. I don't think there is a way to actually create one of these starting points. Like I think this comes with LiveCanvas, and that's okay. So here's one. You may recognize this. It's the homepage of this site right now. If I click view template, I'm going to do it on this one. It opens a new tab, and I can actually see if I want to use this one or not. I'm going to take the extra step. I'm going to right click, go to inspect. I like my inspector on the right in this case. That's changed in these little dots. If I click this little, it's a laptop with a mobile phone next to it. If I click that, I go into simulator mode, and I can actually change to like, what would this look like on an iPhone 12 Pro? Oh, neat. But I'm going to just change that to responsive. And then I get this like handy way to like drag and drop and just see what's going to happen. It's actually like a little janky. There's probably some animation consideration happening here. Like CSS has some kind of transition effect. And that's okay because users don't actually play their browsers like an accordion like this. But it's a thing I'm noticing. So I would maybe take extra attention later when we're looking at the performance. So I'm previewing this and just deciding if I want that as my template. I'm going to close this tab. And now I'm just going to, this one I could click view, but I'm going to just hit apply. And now I start with that as my page. Now, you may remember that I have to go to the customizer to change my theme colors. This blue is the default Bootstrap color, and I'm okay with that. And like from here, I could just start changing things. Like, let's imagine we don't want this video section here. So I just click on section, hit delete. That's gone now. Now, maybe I want this section to have a background color to change it. I can click that, go to properties, background. I'm going to change it to light. Now, I'm just struggling to tell the difference between white and light, but yeah, there it was. I found it, light. Now it's got a subtle gray. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, now it bugs me that this card and this card are touching the edges of it. So I'm also, while I'm in there, I want to add some spacing. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I never do this. Padding top. So I could do all. Okay, for all sizes, we're going to do 4, and then padding. Oh, I did 5. Padding bottom, I'm going to do 5 as well. So now there's a little bit of breathing room between those things, just the way I like it. Yeah, so I would just go through these things, edit. So I'm going to click on this map, and I'm going to say it's in Toronto, Ontario. Hit enter. It's done a clever thing. It's just wonderful. And I would probably also do stuff like, I'm not happy with this phone numbers block. So I'm going to right click into there, go HTML editor. See how the phone numbers are just plain text? Let's make them links. Some devices are actually smart enough for that stuff. I'm going to put it on a new line. But why wait for devices to be smart enough when we could just code it ourselves? So I'm just going to type ahref equals, paste that phone number. Oh, it did it. It helped me by closing the tag. This is why I tend to use Sublime Text. I want to decide what's helping me. Okay, I'm gonna copy this one as well. Oh, I pasted the phone number there. What I need to do is have tel : and then that. So I'm going to close that. What about the other phone number? Well, let's just see, like, copy. Let's see if I can figure it out to do it with the code way. Oh, I found the button for minimizing. I wanted to do Command K there. I see it now. I've highlighted the text. I go up here, and one of these is a link. So I'm going to click that. There's the link text, and now here I can do tel and then paste in that phone number and hit update. There we go. Again, I would prefer to do this in code, but it's right there. I guess it means that you have to know the tel protocol or mail to if it was an email address. But now we have something that should work a little bit better on the phone. So I'm going to save. There's a lot more you could do with this. You could be adding more new sections. Let's do one of those. I'm going to add in team, say our team, and I will move that section up. I guess, well, there already is a team thing there. Well, let's just replace that one then. Let's play the hover game to get that thing to show up, and then just delete that one. There you go. So we're on the way. I hope you could see how, like, just using this would be pretty intuitive. It's a lot like other internet experiences. And yeah, this is a perfectly valid way to do things. And yeah, there's probably lots more we could do, but now let's build one from scratch. So I'm going to hit exit on that. And yeah, while we're waiting, I'm going to do spring promotion. I'm going to hit edit with LiveCanvas. But again, we'll just take a quick look here. As I get started on something, this is where I do think about the SEO, the featured image, URLs, stuff like that. So let's start from scratch here. Now, I'm going to bring up my reference. We're going to start with, we're going to ignore this, the header. We've already got that sort of in place coming from the theme. We're going to ignore the footer, which is coming through LiveCanvas itself. So let's start by adding a hero image with some text. So for this one, I'm going to actually start with one of their sections. I'll go to Ninja Bootstrap. I haven't actually played with this one yet. Okay, I'm in the hero section, and I'm just going to choose this one. Do I want it light? Do I want it dark? Let's go light. If you watched one of my previous videos, you will notice there is a header in here again, which is just so weird. It's just a block. I think I deleted it in code in the previous video, but we're just going to leave it at that. And I don't want this block, so I'm going to delete that one. And I don't want these call to actions. That wasn't part of my screen, wasn't a part of my wireframe. So we're just going to leave it at that. So And now I'm going to do the bienvenue one. Okay, now that I've just pasted that in from Google Translate, I don't think that was actually how you would say that. I bet there's an idiom in French, so I would wait for that. Now that is styled in there as a paragraph, and I think it should be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to click H3. Semantically, to have a document that is regarded as like well structured for screen readers and search engines, you want your H1, H2, H3 all to go in descending order. You don't want to go from an H1 to an H3. However, these are just the styles on it. So we're going to look at the code here in a second. I want this even a little bit bigger. Do they have the display classes? Yeah. D1, let's go big. Okay, now let's go look in the code. What do we got here? So edit main HTML. We've got these backgrounds doing this. I think start 50 and start LG5, all that stuff is coming from Ninja Bootstrap. This is one of their patterns, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's getting baked into PicoStrap or LiveCanvas. One day I might care. I'm going to delete. Sorry, that sounded sarcastic. Like one day I might actually dig in and look. Today I'm just content with what it is for what it is. I'm still building fast sites with this, and I'm not at the point where I want to like trim down the CSS by like 25 kilobytes or something. If I was, this is where I would start. Anyway, I'm just deleting white space, which is like an opinionated thing for my own readability. Okay, so we've got container fluid. Then, yeah, check this out. H1 with a class of display1. That's setting the font size. And then we also have, it's in H3. Okay, so Ninja Bootstrap people, I found a bug that you shouldn't do that. Now, this is called semantics. And like sometimes we'll use the term semantic. Those are just semantics. Like to mean somebody's being pedantic. You will find hundreds of web pages that have this issue where the heading levels don't go in order. I invite you to care about it with me. It helps make your website more skimmable for people with screen readers, which means it's also better for search engines. So sometimes we build things the right way. Sometimes we can't help but accidentally not do it. I will not judge you as a human being if I see you get your heading levels out of order. But you know, at the Bootstrap and like Ninja and Blueprint level, this is where you want to really like have your code good, because if this block gets used a million times, like on thousands of websites, you want to make sure you did it as well as you could. So it's just a tiny little thing, but it's you know, it's like a hangnail. You just want to take care of it the right way and just care a little bit. Anyway, I'm gonna save that now. Okay, so we've got this header. We'd pick different colors or whatever, but like this is how I start building things. Okay, what do we got next? Like I literally don't remember. Okay, now we're gonna need some columns. Let's go. I am going to code this one. So here we go. You can see my little cheat sheet. So we're going to we're on building one from scratch right now. Okay, so I'm going to start with having a background of secondary, and actually I want the padding. I want on the x-axis, I want it to be just a little bit there, so that on mobile there's a little bit of edge between the viewport, and vertically I want to have quite a bit of space actually. I usually do 4, but I'm going to do 5 right there. And I'm going to have a container within that, and I'm going to have a row within that, or will I? And we're going to have we're going to have 3 columns within that. But like in the HTML editing video, I want that to be something pretty specific. As I'm taking great like intentional care about the markup here, I'm actually going to like cheat a little bit and like I'm forgetting what the markup is to have blocks. So I'm going to just go to the LiveCanvas library, flex layout, and they've got all these interesting layouts. Like I could actually just get by on one of these. So I just added that section, and yeah, here, so they invite blocks to be in like that. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to, I'll cut that and I'll come back to my section. I do like that they have it wrapped in section, and actually I'm going to do that at this level. So section, that's going to be a section, and that's going to be a section. Okay. So I open the section and it has the background, and then I close the section. And yeah, the call, I do want that to be, let's just do what we did for in the HTML lesson. So MD will be 4 and call LG 3. So that's going to be 3 column, that's going to be 4 column. It's like, how wide is the column dividing by 12? Okay. And then we're going to put blocks inside those. You'll notice I'm not using overflow hidden. Like that's always a little bit of a scary thing. I want, if there's anything overflowing, I want it to just scroll. I'm not 100% that that's what this is going to be doing. And I think G0 is like about the gutter, like the space between the columns. It's making the columns be right up against each other, which is not something I want. So, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Okay, let's just see where that takes us. I probably will insert a series of blocks for icons and stuff, but I plan to come back to my code editor. But I'm feeling flexible about it. As I look at this, I do wonder if I'm missing one. Like I maybe did get these reversed. Call MD3, and then this goes to 4? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my code editor. I love that I am making some little mistakes actually, so that you can just see this is sometimes, especially like listen to the music and, you know, kid comes in and like, Dad, can I, and you know, you get distracted. I messed up without any distraction just now, but okay, there we go. I'm happier with that. Gonna close this and get into block editing land. So let's, are these SVGs in the way? What's going on? One way to find out, I'm going to edit the main HTML. Let's kill these things. Just did a cut so I can get them back if I want. Did I mess something up? Oh my goodness. Wow. So those blocks are kind of like, oh man, Ninja, I found something. There almost needs to be like an LC ignore or something. Anyway, let's do one of these. We're just going to let that stand. We're good. Okay, let's insert some blocks. So we want icons right now. SVG inline icon. Yeah, button with icon. Yeah, we don't want that. So there's some cool stuff here. We could do images, but I've decided we're just going to have icons for these things. And let's see what's that done with the code. So the thing that I don't want to figure this out. Like I'm writing some code, but I don't ever want to write this. Like the LC helper SVG icon, I could probably memorize that. And I probably would if this is all I did. I have other duties and responsibilities. Web development is probably like 20% of what I'm actually hands-on doing day to day. So I don't get to memorize things as much as I used to. I'm just copying this, going back to my code editor, got rid of the stuff that was making it kind of hard to select things. Okay, so there was some stuff going on here that I wasn't loving. Like as we looked at my icon here, it was like flush left. So we're gonna want to center that in some way. Current fill color is like whatever the text is, which is kind of cool. So like, I think if I added the class of like text primary, which is the Bootstrap class for coloring text, now we're gonna have like the blue icon. I don't know that that's what we want, but let's also see what happens when we add text center, which is gonna center the text. And now here we want H2, and it'll be like, you know what, I'm just gonna do some filler text, lorem ipsum, and we're gonna have a paragraph. I have it if I type lorem with 2 L's, that I get a nice chunk of sample text. That's another text expansion example. I'm gonna put a line break right here with a BR tag. I'm gonna close this P tag, and then I want a link. So type A and then expand. I'm just gonna put sort of that placeholder there now. Am I gonna remember the LC helper equals button? Let's see. And then learn more. Accessibility experts say you don't actually want to use learn more. It's not like helpful if somebody is skimming just the links. Learn more about whatever. If this was a real site, I would think about that more. And now I'm going to just pull in I have a snippet here. I've got my arrow with aria hidden equals true, and then it's a non-breaking space and this little arrow thing. I'll show you what that looks like in a sec. I'm just going to trim this white space, and I want to see how this is doing. So I'm doing a lot of keyboard shortcuts. Command E to bring this thing up. Select all, paste, which clobbered whatever was there. And okay, so the text color is happening, and that is just putrid. So that's kind of cool to see that it's happening. We got the link thing happening, and if I click on the icon, I get to change it. Now, if I make changes here, I got to copy paste them back to my code editor. So I'm going to put the bus. It's not very dental, but yeah, that's perfect. That is what I want to see at this point. So going back here. Okay, cool. Now we're going to think about this because we don't actually want some of the color decisions that were happening there. I like a line of space. One of the reasons I like the space is like if I hold Alt and up, I get to jump over whole sections, which I've been doing for about 10 years. You can't do that in VS Code, putting that out there. Okay, so we're gonna just like make these a little different. And I'm gonna change text primary to text light. Okay. Okay, so that's, I mean, that's pretty good. The text, the links also need to, class help there. So class equals text light. Links on their own do not inherit the font color of their area because you want your links to stand out. Like blue is the default in a browser, but here we're okay with just that. So I'm gonna hit save, and I'm happy enough with that. I mean, design-wise, this isn't ready to go live, but this isn't a design lesson. It's a page building lesson. Okay, in this example, I've got thing beside other thing. In HTML history, this has always been like a kind of a complicated area, needlessly. We used to have floats, now we have flexbox. The very first example of object-oriented web development was actually something called the media element. And this was a developer at the time. She was at Facebook. They're always putting stuff beside stuff. So you got like the person's little picture and then the comment they posted, or, you know, maybe they posted to their own feed. Maybe it's a comment within that. Instead of constantly like this floats and then this floats, you would just like have one class and you would just reuse it everywhere on the site, like Lego bricks, and, you know, reduce your page size. There was a time we had a big client here in Canada, and it was just like, every time we built a page, we're adding more CSS. It's like your HTML and your CSS just growing at a 1-to-1 scale forever because we didn't sort of recycle patterns. This is going back quite a bit. Yeah, so object-oriented solves a lot of that. Now, there are ways to do that within here. I could click add a section, and I bet you they have something. Anyway, like we could dig through all these and find some example, but there's no need to look that hard because we have this homepage. And there's actually a section here that I want to borrow from. So imagine that this was like actually written or whatever. Maybe it's like, learn more about this dentist. So I'm gonna just go to this page and I'm just gonna get that section because this is a thing you're gonna have to do sometimes. So I'm gonna click on section, HTML editor, select all, copy, close on that. I don't like all these extra tabs that I've got open right now. Okay, here I am in my page. Now I could do this in Sublime Text for whatever reason. I'm in here again. I've got an empty section, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. Paste, select all, copy, just in case. Just a habit there. Okay, and there, I've got that whole section in there again. And it's consistent, it's got the actual content. Now, it's not associated in the sense that if I change this image here, it's not changing it on the homepage, but you know, there's a time and place where that could be a hassle because now you're going to have to edit something in 2 places. So I've just clicked on that image. I don't see it yet because I still have to pick the size, and I'm just going to experiment. Large, full, medium. I want to call the smallest one possible without the layout changing. I mean, ideally I would figure out what the size is and then resize the image perfectly. It's cropping kind of weird. Can I change that? How easily can I change that? Edit image. I'm doing it live here. Like I've not done this sort of thing in a bit. Okay, let's apply crop, save edits, blank button. Are you seeing this? Yeah, you are. Okay. Copy URL to clipboard. Well, let's see what that does. Okay, I've done something. And I don't think it was what I thought it was. Oh, full. Weird. Wow. I'm happy. That's probably been in WordPress a long time, but I don't know if I'm a control freak. I've just done that in Photoshop or whatever. Okay, so I'm hitting save. Let's go back to my... This is a thing that I do a lot, is like I'm copy pasting to my Sublime text. Like this feels like my backup. Within this tool, like in a previous tutorial, I was showing how in that page editor view, there was some kind of revisions thing. I'm not sure what that's doing. There's a time where I've wanted a revision and it's not been exactly in there. And like I have mixed feelings about that. Do I want every revision that I ever make to be in this database bloating it out like crazy? Not really. If WordPress only had the most recent version, I would be okay with that because like I can just fix it if there's a problem. If it had the last 10, maybe that's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know how to think about that. Anyway, there is a history thing here in options. And like you'll see everything that I've done. Like I can go back. I think this is like where we started and then like it's just getting better and better. And at the bottom, I have like my most up-to-date thing. If I remember correctly though, like I'm hitting save, I'll hit exit. Now I'll hit back. Is it still there? I think it clears pretty quickly. Yeah. Okay. So that history thing is gone. It's ephemeral. It's just local and temporary. It's something to know. Like it is helpful, and I think it's perfect. I don't want everything bloating the database, and also I can have so many advantages by just copy pasting to my code editor. It's on my computer. I can have this in Git. I can just have a whole folder of my own patterns. Be a bit of a control freak about it. Yeah, it's the perfect workflow for me. So I'm not sure what the page revisions are in WordPress, and it's outside of the scope of this video for me to just go dig into that right now. Okay, hope that's okay. Okay, next we're gonna add a video. And this is a section where it's just like on a cooking show where I'm gonna tell you, I've got one that I've already been cooking for a bit, and that's in LiveCanvas under sections. Nope, it's under blocks. So here I've got a block. Okay, so I'm going to edit my block here, and it takes you to like sort of I think of it as the classic WordPress editor. It's got some HTML in here, and yeah, let's just look through it. So we have a div. If you watched my HTML video, this is just a repeat of me going through the HTML and telling you what we're dealing with. Okay, so let's just take a look at this at a high level. So we've got a div wrapped around the whole thing. Within that, we have an H2, then we have another div, and within that, we have an iframe. This iframe happens to be a YouTube embed. If you go to YouTube and you're watching a video, you can hit share, embed. You get an iframe generating window that like you can select some options and it's gonna populate something. And I've probably just pasted that in here. Now, I've also got a whole bunch of HTML comments in here. And this is talking about some semantic markup that I've added. This stuff here, item prop, item type. This is from a thing called schema.org. And what are they called? Microformats or something? Anyway, you can have something in here. So I'm going to type video. And there is a video schema. And it's basically to tell screen readers and search engines about this video and some metadata about it to give that technology context. And so you're only supposed to have one of these per page. You can have many videos per page, but this is like for the main video on the page. The item scope is this whole div, so that doesn't need anything defining it. The property is video, and the type is video object. Data-bloop is my own markup for my Bloop Blueprint, and that tells me what version of code this is. If ever I find a bug or a more awesome way to do this, I would call that 1.1. And then when I'm editing an old site, I'll be able to see what version of the markup this was without having to think about it. Okay, if I was going to do this video correctly, like once I insert it, actually, I'm going to insert it and then I'll start messing around with it. Okay, so we've got that. Let's go and insert this. I realized I need to add it as a block. So I'm inserting one of their flex layouts choosing it as a block, collapsing basic, your custom blocks. And I've called this one code edit main video. Okay, here we go. We're going to edit this code. I'm going to take this over to my Sublime text. Okay, here is my section that I've inserted. Oh, it's got this this column we're going to delete, and actually we don't need this this row and columns and stuff like that. So we're just going to have just a section. I'm clicking on this this div here, and my Sublime is just showing me where that closes. I'm going to just care about indenting just a bit. Okay. So here's that code, and now we're going to edit it just for this page. And so I've got these comments like only one per page. Okay, I'll take that as read. Step 1, I guess I've numbered these. That's nice. Enter the correct duration. So like it's 9 minutes and 1 second. Oh yeah. So it's like, I'm just going to delete that instruction and then command/ to uncomment that. Now let's imagine that this one is like 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Okay, boom. Enter the correct URL. Okay, so let's just imagine that I already have the correct URL here, and it's this one here. I'm going to copy the, whatever this code is, the hash or the unique ID for the video. I'm going to paste that for these guys here and uncomment them. So we've got the correct URL. What do they call it? Yeah, that's the correct URL. So the item prop is content URL, and that's basically like your like permalink sort of thing. You'll notice I'm using, there's like there's a specific embed notation for YouTube, and I'm using the no cookie one. But this is linking to the actual page where you could watch it. It's not the embed version. Okay, third step, enter the URL to the embed version. Okay, and there I have that again. So then I've got a centered title for the thing. So learn more about family dental. And yeah, then we've got some cool classes here. One's going to keep this thing at a ratio of 16:9. That used to be, we used to be bonkers the way we would do that. LC helper equals video embed. So if I click on that YouTube, I can change it. It will not change these things, however. We're taking extra care to put that stuff in right. If you don't want to be bothered with that, I mean, you just don't even have to have the schema stuff. It all just helps you when you submit to Google. So yeah, let's take that and go back here, paste. Now I'm not happy with how wide that is, so I'm going to do add an extra class here of container. And oh, there's something to make this transparent so you can actually see. Does it work anymore? No, it doesn't. Oh yeah, if I scroll out of the editor, I can just get a sense of how big that is. It's really funny. I'm going to add some more space under the title there. Let's do an MB4. How does that feel? Oh, let's go 5. Did I type it right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's do that. Ta-da, there's my video thing. Cool, this is coming along. So I used one of my own custom blocks there that is in the back end, submitted that, made some changes. And I hope it's also helpful for you to see, like, I just needed a quick section as a way to click into that block. Like I kind of fumbled there. It's the sort of thing that's going to happen. I'm going to hit save. Okay, let's go back to our wireframe. Okay, couple things here for installing apps. Okay. Google Play Store badge, I think they're called. Okay, so badge guidelines. I don't know that this is the right place, but this is like what I do. So I'm on google.com trying to find their image, get it on Google. Oh, look at that. So this is what I want. Download badge. Now, they give you rules. Yeah, I wanted you to see this style guide. Like, if you're placing it, make it the same size or larger than the other badges. So I guess there's some comedic gold in here. You can have it on a background. That's all legit. They don't want you to use out-of-date badges. They don't want you to change its color. They don't want it pixelated. What's wrong with this one? Oh, they switched the order of this stuff. Who's got time for this? Oh, wow, that one looks kind of cool. Okay, whatever. Digital. So it's from February. I go into here. What's going on? Download all assets. Something's happening here. My loading bar is up at the top. Download all? Okay, I guess I agree and submit. Oh boy. Okay, check this out. Let's imagine we wanted the French ones. How many French are there? So there's French Canadian. There are 4 examples of French. There's 2 that are Canadian, 2 that are just normal French, which would be like in France or probably Morocco, maybe New Orleans. I don't know. We've got an AI, which is Adobe Illustrator. We've got a PNG. Let's just get that PNG. Okay, so I'm agreeing again. Did I already download everything? I'm not sure. Okay, so there you go. Got that Google badge. Now, if you're only making English websites, maybe you would only have one. Maybe you'd put that image in your blueprint. But right now, this is the way I do it, is just get them as I need them, which is maybe once a year. Okay, let's get the Apple App Store badge. Okay, identity guidelines. Here we go. Preferred badges. Yeah, that's the one I want. Now, you can download all versions. Oh boy. We want the French one though for my little example here. So I'm inspecting it. What is this? You gonna give me an SVG? No, that's a PNG. Okay, so we're closing that. Okay, we wanna download on the App Store. We've got to agree to all their whatever, download it. And let's go see what that is. Okay, here I am in my downloads folder. I could see that I was able to just get this one PNG from Google, and now I'm unzipping almost 300 megabytes from Apple. And like ideally this will be a thing you only have to do once in a blue moon, but okay, here we go. What is this order? It's not alphabetical. Oh, it's by change. Okay, we're going into French. Download at App Store. Black lockup. EPS or SVG. That's interesting. One's 4 megabytes, one's 13 kilobytes. Okay, well, I'm going to open that SVG in Sublime Text. Look at that. Okay, copy. And going to close that. And okay, here we go. We're going to write some code. We're going to do section. Going to do container. Going to do a row. Going to do a column. Going to do a link. And we'll just imagine that that's going to go to the to your very specific app that you want to be downloaded. And going to click on this div that has the word call on it. And I'm going to add my little comment here. That's for a column, and do another call here. Got another one of those links, and this is where the PNG will go. So I'm gonna just try and freestyle this as a personal challenge. As I'm hitting tab, it's trying to help me. it's not working. Okay, source equals. I'm just gonna put that as empty. I'm gonna do LC helper image. And Alt. I actually know this is going to be get it on Play Store. If this was actually going to be in French, I would I've put that text in French as well. But I mostly wanted us to just not be able to right click and save the image from just the badge site, which would have been cool. Especially, oh, hey, check that out. Sorry, it would have been cool. I'm going to finish my thought. To use a CDN version of the Google Play Store thing. They could change that badge and it'll just update across the web. That'd be too simple though. I copy pasted from Sublime into here and I blew away the change of MB5 and container on this. So I think that's a really funny example of where I didn't follow my own rule of being persnickety about backing stuff up. So a little bit of rework, never hurt anyone. It's a tax to help me remember for next time. MB5. Okay, that's back to where it should be. And now, what are we doing here? Okay, select all copy. Let's close this thing here. And where's my image? Get on Play Store. And I'm gonna click upload. Upload files. Select. Gonna go to my downloads. play thing. And this is where I could set alt text here too. Get on play. I'm intentionally making it different just so we can see what it does there. And I'm going to say show that in full. Now this is funny. We're playing this game here where I want them to be the same height. This one's in SVG. This one's not. I can see width controls on this guy, and that has the LC helper equals image. This thing does not. So I got to do this in the code level. So I'm coming into here. I'm going to edit the code on this thing. Hey, my alt tag, alt attribute. Okay, so we've got a height of 40, and this one has a height of 80. Oh. And I'm also going to take a step of where it says call. I'm going to do text center. Copy that, paste it here. Select all, copy that. What do we got? Close. Okay, it's still not changed to the size of this thing. SVGs can be persnickety, so sometimes there's a... Okay, I'm going to delete width. Like, is that insane? I guess I could, like I just did straight up double it. It bugs me that it's a fraction of pixels. If I delete the width automatically, will it, yeah, it is keeping the aspect ratio because the view box is telling it to do that. I could probably put height 100% or I don't know. Well, maybe not that one, but yeah, there we go. So there we go. If you ever need to do that, you got to go find the artwork. You got to like fight that Google and Apple can't make you a CDN. You got to fight that they're going to be in different formats. And yeah, it's just fun every day. And they'll change them next year. What are we doing? Okay, now we're going to do a form. It means we're going to need to do something fancy. Back in the day, we'd make a page from scratch. You'd have some PHP. You could write a form. But now we have plugins we want to use. And so maybe you have different ways of inserting a plugin. You might use the Gutenberg editor and say, I want a gravity form. Today, we're going to do it with a shortcode. Shortcodes are basically a way that you can do PHP in the LiveCanvas level. You cannot put PHP into this as it is. And that's probably a security feature or wisdom, or maybe it's a technical constraint, or maybe it's all of those. So let's just dive in here. First, I'm going to make a place for this. I don't know that I have the most up-to-date thing, so I'm going to select all, copy, go back to Sublime, paste. Something changed. Okay. After this section, I'm going to do another section, BG primary. Going to do a container. Oh, I'm going to add my padding stuff. So PX2 for the x-axis, PY5 for the y-axis. I'm going to give this a title. I'm going to do h2.text-center, contact us. And this is where I want my form to be, right here. So what would that form markup be? So I'm going to another tab. I tend to have a few tabs open at a time. And I am going to go to forms, and I have a contact us. So I'm going to click into that. And here's where I would edit the form in Gravity Forms. Now this form has some properties. At the very top here, I can see my URL, and it has ID equals 1. If I click back on forms and hover this thing, I can see the URLs there. Maybe there's some other spot to see it, but it's just like, oh, there's ID. Every form you make is going to have a unique ID, and when you embed it on a page, you'll, like Gutenberg will let you pick by the title of the form, but you also might be able to choose by the ID. Like I could see cases where you might have forms that are almost identical, like for contact us, like for getting leads or something. And you want to make sure you're getting the right one. So anyway, we're going back into edit this, and up here we can embed. I love that you could go to the page and grab the right form, like through Gutenberg. There might even actually be a gravity form helper in LiveCanvas. This is just the way I've always done it, and I want you to know about shortcodes. So I'm clicking embed, and I can see like add to existing page or post, or create new, or I can use copy shortcode. So let's see what that does. So I'm going to come in here and paste this. This is what a shortcode looks like. It's basically this shorthand that tells Gutenberg, like you're going to be doing some PHP stuff on the back end to grab the right form and embed it. And no doubt the Gravity Forms plugin has some function that it runs. And There are multiple options. Like I could see the ID here for this form. I could see its title. I believe there's also like one like, do you want to use Ajax or not, which is like a JavaScript thing. But for right now, this is exactly what I want. And let's go copy paste that into our LiveCanvas. As I go to paste this into LiveCanvas, it's scary, isn't it, that I had two pages open, like, and they seem the same at a glance. If I'm scrolled all the way to the bottom of this and have the editor open, like I could easily clobber the wrong page. So I tend to have this rule that I'm only really editing one page at a time. I also have a rule that I only stay logged in as an administrator to the back end of one WordPress site at a time. Like these all feel the same. It'd be really easy to work on the wrong site at the wrong time. Another trick that I'll use is I'll go to my profile and I'll set different colors. You're going to run into this where you're working on multiple sites, or it could be the same site in production and, you know, your local development, or like maybe you have WP Engine staging or what have you. Just always be aware of what you're doing and minimize your ability to make those mistakes through good habits. Anyway, so where was I? I'm going to just copy this, bring this into LiveCanvas, paste it in with my shortcode, and close this thing. So now, what are we dealing with here? We've got this gravity form, and it's not cooperating. I'm going to hit save here and just tell you, you're not actually going to see this. You have to look at this from the front end. And it's probably like a really good performance thing that it's not doing that. Now I could go back to the WordPress backend and go to pages and view it, but I want to show you another trick. I'm doing Command L to scope the URL bar. I think it's Control L on Windows. And now I'm going to do Command T to open a new tab. I'm going to paste that in, and I just Command arrow to jump to the beginning. And now I'm going to Alt arrow to jump over just to get to the end of the actual URL. So Spring Promotion is the slug. I want to delete everything after it, which is like LC Action, which will be LiveCanvas. Deleting that. And now I'm just viewing the page. That's the kind of stuff like I can do it without thinking, like Control L, Control A to select all, Control C to copy, Control T to open a new tab, Control V, hit enter. It all takes place in like 1 second, right? So here's the page we're building. We're going down, should add a little space under those. Yeah, there's the form. It's all rendering. Isn't that wonderful? Now we've got some major readability issues. We're either going to change the text or we're going to change the background. In this case, I'm going to change the background. So I'm coming back here. I'll do this with their little editor tool. I'm going to change the background to light again. And instead of pushing down there, I'm going to just do a push up. So we'll do a spacing and a margin top, and we'll make that a 5. Oh, I went big. Okay. Control S for save. This is where I should bring it into Sublime Text. And ta-da, I've got a handy little form thing. It's all working out. Now I'm going to freestyle one more thing here. Okay, so now we have a little bit more polish to do. I want to show you something. So I'm going to edit view page source, and you can see there's this very important attribute here on the HTML thing called lang. And so it's got the language of English USA. It's really important that your screen readers and search engines be able to know what language your site is, and that's going to help screen readers or read accurately what's on there. But the gotcha here is this is not a completely English site. I've got some French on here, so let's fix that right now. So I'm going to come back to my code editor, and I've got this H2. So I need to do lang equals FR. Now, to match, like we can do FRCA, I think. Okay, so I just Googled really quickly, find language code FR-CA. Like that's what I just thought it was through my memory. There's probably other things you could have searched if you didn't have that intuition, but like this is one of those things where Google is like just telling me without me having to click into a page. So FRCA for sure is the French Canada one. So what I've done here is I've added the lang attribute to this H2, and now technology will be able to understand that there is some French right on this page. Technically, I should put it on the buttons as well, and anywhere else throughout the site that's going to have French. Okay, I'm going to add just a couple more sections because there's another sort of more advanced thing that I want to show you. So I'm clicking Add Section, and I'm going to click this to go back to Saved Sections, Uncategorized. I've got sticky image row right. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to put in a block here with some, let's do image and text. I'm going to change that image real quick. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that, but I want a lot more text. So let's just imagine it's going to scroll a few page lengths. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to add another section with the image on the left. It's scrolled up. Sometimes it does weird stuff like this. You just get used to it. So I click on this dummy section, now do left. There we go. Let's change this background image. I'll use Unsplash. I'm going to do, we already have forest. I'm going to do ocean. And, ooh, I like these swirly waves. Perfect. And now I'm going to stick in a block here. Going to do an image on the other side. Let's change that. It's weird you have to click the image that's already there. What do we got? I'm going to do this one. Really, you should do your alt descriptions as well, but that is the time you would do it. I want you to care about those things, and maybe when I'm demoing this, I should take more care to do that, but I'm not. Okay, so I've just inserted 2 sections. Oh man, remember I did that weird thing and it scrolled up? I think that must have lost this text that I put in. That's weird. Okay, so now when I scroll, like the image freezes as it scrolls through some content. This is a pretty cool feature that I like. I'm gonna hit save, copy, bring that into my code editor. And there is a problem that I've made for us here intentionally. To highlight it more clearly, I'm gonna go to the back end, go to LiveCanvas, gonna go to sections and show you my sections. So if I hit edit this row, you can see it is a 1.1. So this has been on some sites and it's getting some changes. So here we have a section, then we have the container, then within that, it's container fluid, so it's going to go full width. We have a row, and then we have a column. It's going to be 2 columns from large screens and up. And the first thing we're having, because this is the right image, it's saying on large screens that the image, which is in the first column, is going to be on the second column. I think I did this so the markup would be kind of the same on both of them with the least change possible. There's a comment here. And it looks like that's like where I put a title at the bottom of the sticky, which is kind of cool. No, we're not. You can check it out if you want. And then I've got a max width on the text content so that if you have like a massive screen, your text is going to be sort of constrained within your overall column. But then I've got the CSS. So BP, which is my namespace for Bloop, sticky image has a height. And then, okay, so that's on mobile. The image will have a maximum height of 70% of the viewport height. Then on screens that are 62 Ms or bigger, it's going to become 100% the height. I'm not going to get into Ms right here. So the problem that we have is that if I go to the other one with the left image, it has the same CSS. Now, this isn't a big deal. We could publish this site right now, and it's not even that embarrassing. But there's no need for you to be calling the same CSS twice on the same page. And so I think I shared with you my philosophy that if something's going to happen on a site more than once, it should be in the main style sheet. So let's live by that. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to delete this style section and update this. So I did that for the left image. Now I got to do it for the right. I've already got it in my clipboard, so I'm just going to delete it like that. Now I need to put the CSS somewhere. If I go to the customizer, there is actually a spot for additional CSS, but there's something else I want to show you. If I come in here under options, I've got edit global CSS. I'm going to put that in there and do Command S to save. Now check this out. If I refresh on this customizer, you see that the CSS actually goes here. So LiveCanvas is making use of the CSS editor that WordPress comes with. This is the way that I would do it if your site was on a multi-site, or if you're not wanting to edit the child theme. If you're just going to use the Bloop child theme just as is, or if you're like you have some workflow like this is you're on your own, this is a perfectly acceptable workflow. If you're doing like a client site and use this theme on multiple like branches or something like that, like you're going to have different sites using the same thing, put this in your child theme or your actual theme or what have you. But at any rate, now I have my CSS in one place. If I want to affect every one of those sticky sort of row things, that'll be on, it'll happen everywhere. But I still have to go through and like affect it here because I already injected this into the page. This is like, I don't know, like regression testing or something where you got to go back and like fix the bug as it is everywhere. So I'm going to hit save on that. So now it doesn't have the CSS, but you can see it's still working because it's at the global level. So the reason I wanted to show you this is to give you the idea that if you're going to have a section or a block that is only going to happen on a page once or in your site once, you might have some CSS added in here, but more likely it's going to be appropriate to add it to your child theme or within those options. There will be other things that you want to add to your site that can be complex. So imagine you're going to want this, one of these hamburger menus. Somebody here on CodePen has shared some ideas. I like this one. It sort of animates the top of the hamburger menu and the bottom sort of turn into the X, and then the middle one slides away. Whoop, whoop. This one, oh, that one's even cooler. It looks like it's the middle one that goes in. Anyway, animation is awesome. There's so many fun things out here. But then to put this into your menu, you would need all of this markup. You're also going to need some CSS. Now, this is a thing where I'm very specific and I want to come in here and make a lot of edits. Like, I don't know if I want selection on IDs. Maybe I'm okay with it. I can see that this selector is going to affect everything on the site. So I want to like think twice before I start doing that. But as long as it's overall going to be only selecting and affecting this thing, I'm going to be okay with it. When I look at this JavaScript here, I can see this $sign. That means it's jQuery. Might mean that this code's kind of a little bit older, so I might look for another example. But yeah, if you're not sure, you can always just try it. Now again, this JavaScript has to go somewhere. In my Bloop child theme, I do have a place for JavaScript. You can also add this in the customizer. Here's the additional CSS button if you didn't see it because of my picture-in-picture. But under header footer code, I've just put in some JavaScript. So I had to write the script tags. You could put in that JavaScript here. I'm not going to check if we have jQuery installed, so like there's a good chance that code wouldn't end up working. But yeah, I added this like console log example from Customizer, and if I come to my page itself, I'm going to bring this one to the end. I can right-click, inspect, go to console, and I can see example from Customizer is right there. Isn't that great? So if you're adding some JavaScript CSS, there are places for those within WordPress, and you could also do your child theme. Now, while we have this console open, I want to point out a couple other things. So something failed to load, and that's because my browser is blocking some kind of cookie or something from Google. So that's kind of edge case. Most users probably won't have that. And then there's some other things about performance. We are going to come back here and like test some things out. I'll just a little bit more, but there's one more thing that I want to do to this page, and that's just add a little bit of animation here and there. So let's take a look at how to do that. I'm going to close out of this customizer, go to LiveCanvas, and turn on Animate on Scroll. And scroll down to the bottom, hit Save. It's probably behind the picture there, but there was a Save button. I'm going to come back here, hit Refresh. And let's animate some stuff in. I personally don't want to see my text animate, so I'm going to add it to this image here. And I'm going to see if I can figure out how to do it without writing some code, and then we're going to do it the code way. So edit properties on this image, animation, fade up. Okay, and I could change the time and the easing and all that. That seems pretty easy. Let's see what that's done in the code. Edit main HTML. Let's find that image. Data-AOS equals fade up. So you may remember, like if I'm back in the LiveCanvas options, opening a new tab here for Animate on Scroll. Now, when I come here, you can see like data-AOS equals fade up. That's one of the many examples. There's probably a couple dozen. My advice is to just use this stuff very sparingly. It's just like a little accent to delight. But yeah, now I'm going to copy this and I'm just going to add it to some other images. Actually, I'll do the whole thing in my code editor. I'm going to copy it with the space and then just find my other images. So I'm doing my Command D shortcut to just jump around. What is this one? That's the the play badge. Yeah, we'll add it there. And then where's the SVG? We'll add it onto that as well. And I'm gonna hit save, select all, copy, paste. And now let's check it out. So here I am on the page as I slowly scroll down. That image rolled in. Here we go. Oh, did the Apple Store one? So it didn't work on the SVG. We could troubleshoot that. I think I would rather just take it off this one because I don't think it adds a lot in this example, but maybe for the SVG one, we would have to do it on something else like the link or the actual column itself. I mean, if that's the case, I would probably also do it to the column of the other one just to make it symmetrical. And like when somebody's editing this in the future, you want them to be able to figure that out. Okay, so both faded in there. I said I wouldn't troubleshoot it, and then I did. Okay, so that's adding a little bit of animation. Isn't that cool? Now, let's think about accessibility here. I'm gonna go to my system settings, and I'm gonna reduce motion. Reducing motion, that's an option that's on Windows, Android, iOS, Mac. It's on almost everything. And there are media queries for prefers reduced motion equals true, or something like that. And it's just to respect people who either animation drives them crazy or some people actually get nauseous from it. So I have just set my system to reduce motion. And there are some practical things that happen here. So so on the Mac, you get multiple spaces, which is just like, you can move your whole desktop to the side and have like different windows open in different spots. The keyboard shortcut is Control Arrow. And as I do that, it now fades between them. But if I allow motion, it'll actually scroll them. So that's kind of cool. Like it just instantly takes effect. And I'm going to reduce motion again. And on this page, I'm just going to hit refresh. I love how fast this is. So like you can see reduce motion is off. So like now when I scroll, the stuff fades in. And if I turn reduce motion on, it just scrolls. Now this actually wasn't working for a second when I tried it and I was like quite confused. I identified that the code was there. Why isn't it happening? I had to go to SAS compiler and hit recompile once. And now the CSS appears. The CSS that stops the animation from happening is in the Bloop boilerplate, like the code that I wrote. AOS doesn't do this out of the box for some reason, which is if prefers reduced motion is reduce, then set the opacity to 1 and the transform to 0. So it just stays there and it just stops the animation. Okay, we're almost done. I want to just do a couple more things. So here I am on this page. I've got all my latest changes and I am going to go to inspect and then a little thing called Lighthouse. This is a Chrome extension, but it's also the basis of the Google PageSpeed Insights. Now I can't actually test this on Google PageSpeed because this is not on the internet. This is only on my local machine, but I'm going to test on mobile, which is where most of you people are. I'm going to turn off the PWA and just look at these three things. Let's analyze the page load. So it fires up this Lighthouse thing. It's simulating the mobile experience. It's doing some speed tests and accessibility tests. Okay, now the test is done and I can see that we have a little bit of work ahead of us. That'll be the subject of the next video. We will be going through and we will be looking at what are the accessibility and performance and best practices issues. We'll solve those and make this page as good as we can. And basically, that's the process of building a page. We start by thinking clearly about what the thing is, drawing, thinking with our hands, making it the best we can in practice, and then the work of building it. So you can use an existing template, you can copy bits from other pages, you can code stuff, you can start out with somebody else's code, copy paste, manipulate it, and just work your way down in a logical way. I hope this has been helpful. And in the next video, we'll look at optimizing the page to help your screen readers and search engines even more.